Marshall, Senator Eugene McCarthy, musical guest Toad the Wet Sprocket, from the Catch-A-Killer, Michael Riley and Joe Kozenczak. And now, it's him!
Hair's getting too high. I'm starting to look like the papermate kid who dances behind Hammer. I need a little cut. Hey, new shoes. I need some keys. Anybody got keys? I got to scuff the bottom. I'm slipping. Okay. You got any? There you go. All right. Oh, geez.
That was the purpose
I get the night
pitch.
watchman at the Winchester Mystery House. All right, I'm cool. Babe, what was this? Portable dialysis thing, or what happened? It broke, man. Nicky, you're a whiz with gadgetry. You want to fix this up for the guy?
I'll make like MacGyver.
All right. Yeah. All right. You got this little gauzy type cottony, breathable by Gilda Marks coat on here. And, all right. Welcome to the show. Scooter, you here? Remember I brought Scooter out of the crowd a couple weeks ago? He's back tonight. Well, listen, you're not going to go psycho. Scooter. I saw you outside. My first instinct was, bring the guy up. We have a little fun. Psycho, he's back. He's going to kill me. You're not obsessed with me now here, are you? Okay, well, I got a crowded show tonight, but you want to come back in a couple weeks and jam again? All right. No, don't do that milk-up thing. Okay. Oh, God. All of it's done.
Scooter's done right. Showbiz.
Maybe if the crowd would dig it. I can't believe you, Scooter. Oh, man. All right. I'll see you. We'll call. I'll see you in a couple weeks, okay? All right, I got to get to the news here. 18 buttons. President Bush stopped at a church in South Central LA on Friday where he made a plea for more understanding towards the problems of the poor. Unfortunately, nobody heard him because he forgot to roll down the limousine window. And it works like that. In a speech given in Los Angeles Friday, Bush introduced his new plan for economic recovery he called the Weed and Seed Plan. This, of course, is a change from his previous economic policy, greed over need, which Dan Quayle. That's it. Oh, Quayle, you are heaven sent, baby. The Los Angeles police are reviewing TV rioting tapes in order to prosecute looters from last week's unrest. considering the last time they used tape as evidence, I think the looters might as well sit back, relax, and enjoy their new TVs, okay? And Exxon Valdez Captain Joseph Hazelwood begins his new job this week at a New York Maritime College. His class on how to stand watch on the bridge follows a seminar by Dan Quayle on frontline combat. So you might want to get those two back to back. The FBI has named its first woman the head of field office. Yeah, that's a good step for women. Berdine Passanelli is her name, and she will head operations in Anchorage, Alaska. In a press release, the Bureau praised William Seward for having the foresight to purchase an area as isolated as Alaska. We'll call that joke Miller's Folly. A new toy called the Mummy-to-Be doll is making its first appearance in toy stores today. The doll has a removable pregnant stomach, and it's expected to sell briskly once the Operation Rescue dolls stop blocking the shelves. Singer LaToya Jackson. There's some big news. Twice seen nude in Playboy. She sent a letter to Pope John seeking a private audience. You know, with her career, you think she'd had enough of one-person audiences. But, it's LaToya, not Janet. Wasn't like I got on Tito. Ozzy Osbourne's last solo tour is starting. It's called the No More Tours Tour. And it starts June 9th in Portland, Oregon. Osbourne said he would tour again in the future, though, with other musicians in a Stupid Claims I Can't Keep tour. All right, is this a good one? All right. Catholic bishop in Ireland walks into a bar. A Catholic bishop in Ireland is in trouble for paying child support to a woman who bore his child. The church says the bishop couldn't be reached for comment. He's now in South America doing missionary work. Hey, isn't missionary work what got him in trouble in the first place, pal? And beautiful man.
Oh, yeah.
When in trouble, Nicky, go to the clergy on top premise. You take that big hat off? A new study shows that the average wine consumption in the U.S. is down 2 glasses in the past 10 years. Wine representatives say they expect it to rise again, though, with the impending Teddy Kennedy winning. And sperm doctor Cecil Jacobson, the sperm doctor. Our good friend, the sperm doc. He's been sentenced to 5 years in prison. At least he has a hobby to pass the time with, huh? How would you like to be his cellmate, Nicky? You're laying down
Cecil,
there.
come out for just a minute.
Yeah, you're laying down there in the bunk. You feel that jiggling. What are you digging out? Are we breaking out today? No, no, we're staying. We're staying. Yeah. He's the Birdman. And finally, astronauts on the Shuttle Endeavour say they missed their hookup with that satellite they were supposed to pick up by about 6 inches. But female crew member Catherine Thornton said it was actually more like 4 inches. Tonight, my guests are Garry Marshall is here. Yeah. We've got Toad and the Wet Sprocket. Stu Sutcliffe. You know. Stu Sutcliffe, formerly with the Chicago Cubs, now Cleveland Indians. No, Baltimore Orioles. Yeah.
I think you mean Rick.
Making a comeback from being killed in a street fight in Hamburg. And that's tough to come back from. He had to call Dr. Frank Jobin on that one. And
he can still throw the slurve even though he's got a plate in his head. It's beautiful.
Tommy Lasorda. We got Senator Eugene McCarthy here. Yeah. Not here? And from a new made-for-TV movie about John Wayne Gacy, the man who actually tracked down John Wayne Gacy, who's Joseph Kozenczak, and the actor who plays him, Michael Riley. Goldie, thanks, folks.
This portion of the Dennis Miller Show is brought to you by Budweiser. Nothing beats a Bud.
Before we go on, I just want to announce real quick, everybody always worries about shows when they take off, and this, when they lift off, everybody's always looking to see if it's going to go off the air now, but we just got picked up for 21 more weeks, so we'll be on.
Yeah! We gonna eat next week!
See, now, the Tribune hasn't actually committed to that in print, but I thought if I said it on TV, they'd have to do it.
Locked
in. No, they're screwed. You got to pick it up, or we all look like idiots.
You've made them liars. They are liars if they renege on this.
All right, Nicky, what do we got here?
You know, Dennis, ever since we introduced your new book, Miller's Unfamiliar Quotations, last week, the public's been clamoring for more.
All right, well, then let's give them some, Nick.
Alrighty. Remember, I'll read a quote from Bartlett's Familiar Quotations, then you read... Oh, jeez. Now I'm going to get all misty.
I just love it when you're a cue card. Go ahead.
Then you read Miller's Unfamiliar Corresponding Quote.
Wow, that's from the heart. Okay.
The familiar quote, a little child shall lead them, the Bible, Isaiah 11:6.
He gets 5 million or he walks. Macaulay Culkin's father on Home Alone 2.
Luck never made a man wise, Seneca, letters to Lucilius.
I accept the nomination of vice president. Quail to Bush.
A civil servant doesn't make jokes, Eugene Ionesco, the killer.
But I didn't inhale, Bill Clinton.
I force myself to laugh at everything for fear of being obliged to weep. Pierre de Beaumarchais, the barber of Seville.
Would I smash a watermelon for a laugh? Sure. Gallagher. Showtime. Yeah.
Love is all we have, the only way that each can help the other. Euripides, Orestes.
Half and half costs you $50. Sunshine. Hooker on Sunset.
That's it. Woo! Moving along. Social work is a Band-Aid on the festering wounds of society. Alexander Chase.
Taxes are for little people. Leona Helmsley.
Even where sleep is concerned, too much is a bad thing. Homer, The Odyssey.
What was the question? Ronald Reagan.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. 'Tis not the hair that makes the philosopher.
I'm not only the president of the Hair Club for Men, I'm also a client. Cy Sperling.
And finally, no act of kindness, no matter how small, is ever wasted. Aesop, the Lion and the Mouse.
Would you like fries with that? McDonald's employee. And those are the unfamiliar, familiar, blah, 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 blah. Thank you, Nick.
Yeah.
You gotta clip along.
Yes, sir.
The lovely Nick Mackay. You're getting so popular, man. You're gonna cut me out. You're gonna take my piece of the pie.
No, I'm just gonna...
Sorry, I got a little paranoid.
I'm replacing Ed on Star Search.
I got beaten on Star Search by a guy who isolated 3 individual Munchkin voices. Oh, God, I wanted to blow my head off. Okay, My first guest has done it all, from creating shows like Happy Days and Laverne and Shirley to directing hit films like Pretty Women. Please welcome Garry Marshall. How many of you?
A large ovation here.
How many of you have seen him act in Lost in America? Is that one of the most brilliant scenes you've ever seen? Were you just, Now that has to be one of my favorite movie scenes ever. How much of it was written and how much were you and Albert just riffing there?
Albert and Monica Johnson wrote a very nice script, but once Albert gets into it, he just says, let's find out if we go this way. And the most frightening part was when he put down Wayne Newton.
Right.
And I didn't think that was a good idea, so I said, I love Wayne Newton. What are you? And so that
Are you calling me a schmuck?
Yes.
I loved it when you were talking about Santa Claus. That was my favorite part.
Yes,
he kept trying. Albert wanted him to give the money back his wife had lost, and he kept referring to Miracle on 34th Street. He said, be the casino with a heart. And Garry said, in that movie, that was Santa Claus who gave the money back.
Santa Claus. So I play heavies a lot.
Yeah.
I just finished doing one for my sister Penny, who's directed me in a film called A League of Their Own, a baseball.
Oh, the baseball flick. How'd that turn out? Does it look good?
Pretty good, yeah, looks good. Coming out in July. Everybody's in it, you know. Gina Davis, Tom Hanks. I play the owner of the league, another part.
And Lovitz has a part in that, too,
Lovitz
doesn't he?
is very good.
I hear he's great.
He's the scout.
Yeah.
Yes. He finds Madonna as a ball player.
Oh, he would.
Lovitz
would. Now, tell me about your play. You wrote a play here, Wrong Turn at the Lungfish? I can't tell much from the title. What's it about?
It's an odd title, Wrong Turn at Lungfish. It's an evolutionary term, and I'm out of the loop now. I'm out of the glitz for a minute of show business, and I like theater very much. I had a play on Broadway. It's called The Roast. It lasted 3 nights.
Mm-hmm.
Went, phew. So this one, I think we're going to try for more. It's called, it's about 2 people from different corridors of life, and they stop and they're forced to reflect on their past, their future. Did they do it right? We all do that one time or other.
Mm-hmm.
Did we do it right? In the future, are we going to the right place? Are we going to make mistakes? And it's very funny. Stars George C. Scott, fine actor.
Yeah.
Whenever you argue with him, he takes an American flag and puts it behind him, and he stares at you, and he yells at you. It's very exciting, but he's very funny. And Tony Danza, his first play, Tony Danza is in it, and Laurie Metcalf, who plays Roseanne's sister on Roseanne, and a new girl named Kelly Williams.
Now, did you write it, or you wrote it, but are you directing it too?
I wrote it with a very fine writer, Lowell Gans, who just gave you City Slickers and Parenthood.
Babaloo Mandel, Lowell
Babaloo
Gans,
Mandel, and Lowell. Lowell and I wrote it, and I'm directing it.
All right. I want to talk more about George C. Scott, what it's like to work with him. We'll be right back with Garry Marshall right after this commercial message. Back with Garry Marshall. Now, Scott seems like he could be a rather imposing figure, and I always sense that he's a bit cranky about acting anyway, since he considers it to be somewhat of a emasculative process. So how is George C. Scott to work with?
Well, you know, this is he plays this professor, a very intellectual man, and he has this way with words, so he has a lot of words we gave him to memorize, and he's doing very well with it. And he's, as I said, he's a figure when he comes on the stage. You see him. Yeah. I didn't mention the plays at the Coronet Theater right here in Los Angeles.
I was going to ask. Yeah, God, I wasn't going to.
But here, this is one of my favorite foods. No, because you asked me about Mrs. Scott. At my run-throughs, I don't allow loud food. I mean, act is acting, and you're eating celery. You get very annoyed. So all my run-throughs, you eat silent food, bananas. You can eat a banana and watch an actor work, and you won't disturb him. Helpful hint of
Or
Hollywood.
celery with a silencer on it.
If you could find it, that's right. Celery with a silencer.
Go on.
This is the silent food. You know, we have...
When's the play coming out here again? Tell me that.
We're opening May 21st.
Where do you break plays in now? How far out in the hinterland do you have to go? Back in the old days, they used to go up to Boston and Philly, right? Where do you go now to break a play?
Well, we're in the Valley. We're in the valley at Vitello's restaurant upstairs. That's where we're rehearsing. But we did have this play 3 months at the Steppenwolf Theater in Chicago. Very fine theater company. So you go.
You got all the
Chicago
rough
is a
edges?
great place. Well, no, we're still finding some rough edges here. So you might come on different nights and see a couple of different lines.
Right.
So it's a very exciting. But I have 2 actors, George C. Scott and Laurie Metcalf, who've done tremendous amounts of theater.
No, I know that name. Where am I blanking on her from?
Laurie is Roseanne's sister on
right,
Roseanne,
right,
not
yeah.
her real sister. But then I have 2 actors, Tony Danza and Kelly Williams, who have done almost no theater.
Well,
So-
Tony's energetic, man. He gives it his all,
Oh, yeah.
doesn't he?
Yes.
He's always he has a vivacious quality where he just
Well, he's
goes
very,
for it.
very exciting.
Yeah, when
He's
he used to do Saturday Night Live, anything was.
He told me about that. He said he was very nervous. You never told him what costume to put on. Made him crazy. Didn't know
Wow.
what to wear.
Yeah.
People worry about that.
Well, a lot of the women there wanted him in a Tarzan thing, but nobody wanted to tell him that. Hey, now, is there going to be a Pretty Woman too? Is that that's the rumble out there?
They rumble about it because anything that makes a few dollars, they say, let's do another one. But I've never been heavy into Roman numerals. Not my thing. But they are, I don't know if people like it or not. I think we made a pact, Julia Roberts, Richard Gere, and I, that if there was a Pretty Woman 2 and one of us did it, we would all do it. So they may get 3 other people to do Pretty Woman 2. There is a script being written, and I hope it
Well, what
works.
could they do? Like, put her on the streets again in London? Or what? Like, she's still a hooker on the continent this time.
No, it's, no, actually, part of the plot has to do with he runs for public office. And they find out that she was once.
Oh, so he's the whore in this one.
Yeah, it's
I see. Ba-bang. All righty, Garrett. It's Wrong Turn at the Lungfish. When am I going to see you act again after League of His Own? You got any other plans?
well, I work, I'm one of the few people in Hollywood with gray hair who didn't dye it black in my age group. So I get hired for these parts. I like to act. It gives me good practice. But the most exciting thing now is to direct theater. Because in theater, you see, you're looking at us now. That's theater. If you look at the monitors, then we tell you what to look at. This way you can look wherever you want in the theater. I think that's what's exciting about it.
You just blew my mind, McLuhan. How's your hoop game every week? You're a big hoop freak?
Yes, I went to Magic Johnson, Jerry West Laker camp.
Oh, yeah?
I was the oldest one there.
Yeah?
They used me as a pick and a screen, My hang time was -2. That's my hang time. But
All right,
I love to play.
Who do you like in the NBA? Real quick.
If the Bulls get by the Knicks, they'll win it. If the Knicks get by the Bulls, they'll win it.
I'm going to hold you to that, baby.
Okay.
Garry Marshall, folks. We'll be right back. Toad and the Wet Sprocket right after this.
This portion of the Dennis Miller Show is brought to you by Dawn Dishwashing Liquid. It takes grease out of your way.
Each TV host head is wind tunnel tested many times before it makes it to your market. This next group took their name from an obscure Monty Python skit. Their album is entitled Fear. Performing All I Want, here's Toad, the Wet Sprocket. Toad, Toad.
Make me so loud, hearing when we lie. Truth is not kind. You said neither night. The air outside so some saying everything, everything. beating heart when all we need is to breathe the soul. We wouldn't be that brave, I know. The air outside shows up, confessing everything. Everything. All around us, feel this way. To be this close, feel the same. All around us, feel this way. When the evening speaks, feel it sad. And it won't matter now. Whatever happens to be, though the air speaks and all will ever be, it won't trouble you. It won't trouble me. All around, feel this way. To be this close, feel the same. All around, feel this way. The evening speaks, feel it say. Feel so close this way. Let it tell me everything. Let it hold me so this way. I can feel it say.
All right, welcome back. Hey. Since I last talked to you, we got booked up for 340 more weeks. All right, Nick, we got a comedy bit here. I'm a little worried about it, but
I'll be your co-pilot. We'll stay in formation.
ground control me, man. Stay with me all night. When it comes to talk shows, you're only as good as your last booking. With all the competition out there, trying to get the big names can be brutal. But tonight, we scooped them all, ladies and gentlemen. Direct from Broadway, fantastic group of thespians and dear, dear friends of mine, the traveling Elizabethan Toad Theatre.
What light! What light through yonder window breaks! It is the east, and Juliet is the sun. Ah, her vestal livery is but sick and green.
Oh, Romeo, Romeo, wherefore art thou, Romeo?
She speaks, yet she says nothing. See how she leans her cheek upon her hand. Oh, that I were a glove upon that hand, that I might touch that cheek.
Would that I could o'erleap this balcony and land upon thee. But alas, the shortness of my forelegs forbids it.
Would that I were a bicycle seat, that she might rest her cheek upon me.
Good night, good night. Parting is such sweet sorrow that I shall say good night till it be morrow.
You know... Wow. Huh? You know, I don't think I've been that knocked out by a piece of theater since I saw Bobby Barancini's Orangutans do Streetcar.
Now that is good theater.
You guys are wonderful. What's been going on over there?
Well, Dennis, we've just finished a very successful run at the Helen Hayes Theater, and we just thought we'd pop by. Dennis, you know what big fans we are of yours.
Well, thank you very much.
No, thank you, Dennis. We've had a lovely time. Your staff is positively wonderful, if for no other reason that they chose not to vivisect us.
The traveling Elizabethan Toad Theatre, ladies and gentlemen!
Wow.
Oh!
Well.
What? Nicky, what a nice
Oh, my
surprise.
goodness. In the words of Aristotle, they evoked fear and pity in me, which is what all theaters should. They were toad-tastic. They were frogrific. Warts and all, I loved them.
Nicky! All right.
Okay.
Hey, I got to bring out one of my childhood heroes here. He will be performing a spoken word piece he has written. However, he's probably more comfortable appearing before a U.S. Senator or Congress. Please welcome the former senior statesman from Minnesota, Senator Eugene McCarthy. Folks, Eugene. Senator McCarthy, I have fond memories of you from my childhood. You were like, to me, the regiment in glory that was the first one to assault the fort. Espousing some sort of anti-Vietnam sentiment in that era was a pretty courageous thing. And since then, we seem to have dropped back into more apathetic times. What's wrong with politics?
That's right. I can get more people to come to an anniversary than to a rally now.
Yeah, it's just...
We talk about what we did in the war.
Why is it so apathetic here? What's wrong with our...
I'm trying to stir it up. I'm a candidate in California. I decided to come to the West Coast and fight back.
Oh, good for you. But do they take it seriously?
I don't know what they mean by that. I don't know what you have to do to be serious when you're dealing with television networks. Do you?
Get caught with a woman.
Does that help? Well, I mean...
If you're going to jump in, jump in.
Yeah, let's look around. I feel like temptation. I could be a real scandal. I heard you talking about the Irish bishop, so
right.
We might top that.
Yeah. Now, what's your take on George Bush? What do you feel about Bush? He seems to have that Teflon-like quality to some extent.
Well, it's a funny thing. I had figured out Reagan, and it was really some English historian said about another politician. He said he imagines the past and he remembers the future. And so it was always now where Ronald was, absolute now, sun straight overhead. And George came on, and he was more difficult, and I tried to figure out how he related to Reagan, and with Bush, there's no now. It's before or after, or above, below, or I'm with you, but I'm against you. He's sort of sustained by kind of contradictory prepositions. If you take away the for, then he's against. But until you do that, it's sort of absolute no now. And it's even worse than that. Peggy Noonan.
The speechwriter.
Yeah, she, in her book on Reagan, said she was asked to write some things for George Bush. And she did, and they rejected them because they said, you can't use the pronoun I. George doesn't like to say I. Mm-hmm. You might say we, but he really prefers no subject. Just got up this morning. Yeah, started a war, And in the midst of very serious discussions, he'll say, gotta go now.
Right.
And you say, who does? You, George? And he's sort of like, in recent times, I don't know, you should have them on your show, these Oriental goats.
The Oriental goats?
Goats, yeah. Have you read about them?
Bush is like the Oriental goats?
Well, yeah, these Oriental goats, they're fine up to a certain point, and then they face a crisis, and they begin to tremble, and they stiffen up, and they fall over. And they just lie there for about 20 minutes until the crisis passes, and they begin to vibrate again, and they get up and walk away. And if you watch George closely, that's about what happened.
And Quail, of course, would be the goat who just slammed his head too hard into something, I guess.
I don't know about Dan. George is pretty disdainful of everything, But to disdain the vice presidency, I mean, that's reaching, and he did it. It's hard to downgrade a vice president.
But don't you think? Now, in the overview of these people, I often think, I think of Quayle and Bush as probably good men. To some extent. I mean, I don't think of them as ogres or people who don't care for humanity. They just miss the point a lot, don't they?
I don't know about Quayle.
Not going to let him off the
No,
hook,
I would not go that far. I haven't thought about him very much. But George is sort of amoral.
Not amoral, all moral.
Amoral, which is worse. Robert Lowell has a line in the poem which he says, the worst sound in the universe is the harsh, high laughter of the amoral, rejoicing over their victories. That's pretty heavy, isn't it, for your program?
Not really.
No, I guess you can understand. But it's true. It's sort of, I'm not guilty.
Of being all-knowing, maybe.
George is the first no-fault president we've had.
Yeah.
It isn't Teflon. It's just, I didn't do it.
Well, the riots are LBJ's fault, right?
Yeah, it goes back to the 1960s for those. But he, well, I think the ultimate rejection of responsibility was over the Kuwait matter, when Alice Glasby said that they didn't understand. It wasn't their fault that this developed. The real reason was that Saddam was more stupid than they thought he was. They said if he hadn't been so stupid, he would have known when they told him they didn't care what he did about Kuwait, he would have known that they did care.
But he didn't read the TV.
He didn't know it. He was too stupid, and that was their mistake. It was the stupidity of Saddam Hussein that set it up. And it raised an interesting question about the State Department. You say, well, were you, or they, or whatever they are there, were you too stupid to know how stupid he was? Or are they of such a level of intelligence in the State Department that they can't comprehend stupidity of a certain level? Which would mean you'd have a whole range of foreign policy decisions in which there's no understanding. Yeah. You're either too smart to know about, or on the other side. I've concluded that foreign service officers, this is part of being serious, especially in politics, you have to know a lot about animals to sort of understand. And I learned by accident some years ago about beagles. And the reason they use beagles for brain experiments is that every beagle brain is like every other beagle brain. So it's awfully hard to find the best of breed beagle, because if you're better than other beagles, you're not a good beagle. And so what you're trying to do is to be, if you're a beagle, is to be the most common beagle there is, and then you're best of breed.
Right.
And this is true of foreign service officers.
With wisdom. All right, Senator McCarthy, thanks for coming on. Senator Eugene McCarthy. We'll be right back with Michael Riley, Joe Kozenczak, right after this. Bye-bye. Gene McCarthy, I thought I had references. I could not follow that guy, man. I felt like Ebb on Green Acres there. This week, To Catch a Killer, a 4-hour miniseries, starts airing on the Tribune Premiere Network. Tonight, we have the real-life hero who tracked down serial killer John Wayne Gacy and the actor who played him. Please welcome Joe Kozenczak and Michael Riley. Folks. All right, To Catch a Killer. Now, I often worry about these things. Do you worry? I wanted to know about the if some people deem these to be a bit exploitative, because the surviving members of these families are out there, and I'm sure you, as the guy who tracked them down, have a stake in the authenticity of it. Is this well done? Or?
I guess that's the whole principle of what happened in this project, is the fact that the project was based on factual police records and court transcripts, with my input as the chief investigator.
He's the actual one. I should have said that. You're the real guy. That's the actor. Okay.
And we wanted to make sure that the whole emphasis of this project was, in fact, to create a surrounding of knowledge for people who watch this thing, to know that there are people like a John Wayne Gacy out in our society. And if we could save the life of one child from this project, we felt the project would be worth it.
Yeah, because even with pretty old dog and pony tricks, this guy lured a lot of people in with just kind of that feeling you get where you don't want to offend somebody. Even if you think this could be the craziest bastard who ever lived, you still don't want to offend him.
Exactly.
And what was his ruse that he would use with a lot of them? He would...
The primary ruse that he used to get his victims was to entice them off the street and get them to come back to his house to party. And from that point in time, he would have a methodology of essentially capturing these people right in his house, and it would end in the death of the individuals.
Sort of force of will, though, he would get them to put handcuffs on, right?
Yes, exactly.
Just by kind of embarrassing them into it? I mean, amazing to me.
Yeah.
Michael, now, for playing the gentleman, finding him on the set each day as the consultant, was that difficult for you? Was it
No, I had a very short amount of time to prepare for this, so meeting Joe was just invaluable. It was kind of a necessity.
Mm-hmm.
But the weirdest part of the whole project for me, I think for all the actors, was just there was like two feelings happening. One was it was a great project and had all the criteria for being, a solid acting project. We had a great, piece of writing, and we had a good director and a great ensemble of actors. But at the same time, there was kind of, because of the subject matter, a kind of a dark overtone underneath the whole thing. I mean, you couldn't spend a day on that set without feeling a little macabre by the end of the day.
Well, we have a clip from it. I want to show this. It's a clip from To Catch a Killer. And roll it!
No, we need real handcuffs, don't we, huh? I know where we can find some real handcuffs, boys and girls. Wait right here. I'll be right back. Okay, here we go. We're gonna come over here and get some real handcuffs. Here they are, right over here, huh?
He says you want to talk to me?
What the hell's going on with my vehicles? I need them for my business.
You get them back when the investigation is over.
Oh, really? Well, the investigation is over. I'm suing you and your hick department for $1 million. How do you like them apples, dummy?
Don't you have nightmares? Horrible nightmares, Mr. Gacy. I do.
Oh, Mr. Policeman. Don't you know a clown can get away with murder?
Wow. Was he that creepy?
Very.
Huh?
Yeah, very cunning. He was a cunning, manipulative type of a person.
Trying to put it in your face like that?
Put it in your face, yeah, all the time.
You won, brother.
Yeah, we did. Right.
Where does it stand now? Is he going to...
Well, right now, John Wayne Gacy sits on death row in Menard Penitentiary in the state of Illinois and is in the final process of his appeal. The state of Illinois does have the death penalty, and we're...
All right. Thanks for catching him.
Okay.
It's called To Catch a Killer. And this is Joseph Kozenczak and Michael Riley. We'll be right back after this, folks. Sorry.
This portion of the Dennis Miller Show is brought to you by Miller Lite. And that's that.
Welcome back. Hey, I'd like to remind you, I ran a little long tonight. I want to apologize, Mr. Riley, Mr. Kozenczak, but To Catch a Killer starts airing this week for the month of May on the Tribune Premiere Network. Good night, teenagers. Bye-bye. When in Los Angeles, guests of the Dennis Miller Show stay at the St. James Club and Hotel.